Lainie. Finally, a man whose face certainly needs no introduction, although you know him best from his starring roles on TV's Taxi and Dear John. He is most at home on the Broadway stage, voted Best Actor in his new show, Conversations with My Father. Welcome, please, Judd Hirsch. Judd Hirsch. The best show. Judd Hirsch. He got it. He's got his name right. All right, Judd. With Dear John, with Alex, the character you played, the classic character in Taxi, the old man, I'm not Rappaport, I just can't picture you as Mr. Ross, a bad guy in Conversations with My Father.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
I thought you were going to say there's a mean streak in you we didn't know about.
No, I guess it's always a consideration when you take a part as to how you're going to come out, but that it gets buried during the time you're doing it because you remember the reason you took the part. And all I wanted to do was play this impossible, gruff, enormous, gigantic, awful, and yet strangely loving father. I mean, if you're offered a part like that, you don't think of anything you've ever done, so you just do it.
You and Herb Gardner really have a thing going now, 2 for 2 in terms of the Tonys.
Yeah, I know. I made the terrible mistake of calling him my personal playwright one day.
I don't think he'd like that too much. Lainie, it is so great to see you back on Broadway.
It's so great to be here.
It's been so long for you from Broadway.
Let's not discuss it.
Why
It's been
so
a
long?
time. Why so long? It just hasn't been there for me. You know, there's not been a part that's been offered to me truly that I've wanted to play. And film and television has been very lucrative, and it's been the place where I've been the most creative. And so there was no, real immediate reason for me to come back. I'm delighted to be here. This is my home, and theater is where I belong. I truly believe that, and I hope that the theater is going to be kind to us. I hope that New York will be kind to us because we're opening December 10th. So.
Wow, my favorite. Who plays the Peter O'Toole role?
Tim Curry, and he is just fabulous.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
I bet he could play a dissolute kind of
He's a little debauched. Yeah.
bandit among actors there.
He's very romantic and a little bit dangerous, and I guess that's what's so appealing.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Did you have trouble shaking a kind of stereotype after you followed Barbara in Funny Girl?
I think, yeah, I've had a difficult time all through my career shedding those stereotypical opinions. First, because I was Barbara's understudy, and people would say, you look like her, you sound like her, you are her. And so it took me about 10 years to get out of that. And then I decided, people said, well, but you're lovely looking. And so there I was, this sex person, whatever that is, So I used that for a while. And then they didn't hear me sing or act. And, you couldn't be lovely looking and talented at that time in our history. And so then I played a Jewish mother. And here I am.
But in Beaches, you were great as a Jewish mother.
Yes.
Harry and the Hendersons as a Jewish neighbor mother.
But I played a couple of Italian women as well.
Sure.
But it's been, I enjoy it. And if other avenues of creative stuff open to me, I'd be thrilled. Right now, this is what's happening, and I'm very, very grateful for it.
Like a waspy prima ballerina?
You got it.
I see you that. I see it. You mentioned understudy. Josie, you have the understudy story of all time. I mean, first of all, in Nick and Nora, the monumental flop, you were designated to be Nora.
No, actually, no. I was playing a character by the name of Maria Valdez. And I was let go 2 weeks.
You were fired?
Yes, I was fired 2 weeks into previews. And then I got to be standby for Sarah in Guys and Dolls.
So the opposite happened?
And the opposite happened.
You got hired?
Right. I got hired to play Sarah 2 weeks into previews. So it's like, I don't know, something up there was doing something.
Payback, maybe. How did you feel opening night, knowing that the whole world was watching, knowing that your performance was going to be especially scrutinized?
I tried not to think about it when I was on stage. I just tried to have fun, and especially my first night on. You just have one put in rehearsal and then you're on. So I just enjoyed myself, and that's what happened. I enjoyed myself, and it was successful. So.
Were you shocked at the nature of the monumental success?
I was. You
Front
always
page
hope,
in the New York Times.
Right. You always right. That's like that doesn't happen very often. I was hoping that it would be successful. I thought it would be successful, but not to this extent. It's very exciting.
And Tom, I talked about stereotypes. I mean, you 6 years or 7, wasn't it, on
7
Dukes of
years,
Hazzard?
yeah.
But you were the heartthrob of you and John Schneider of every woman in the country who watched the program. You wrecked 6,000 cars.
Car mechanics.
Is it tough to shake something that strong? Television's so pervasive.
Well,
One of your television shows probably is seen by everybody who goes to Broadway in a whole season.
Yeah, well, a show
numbers.
like that was kind of a phenomenon when it happened. It was a strange show. It was a lot of fun to do, but immediately it's like Lainie said, people forget that you can sing or act or do anything else besides, talk smart and ride around the car. So. So it's been interesting. It's been nice getting back to Broadway. Doing City of Angels a couple years ago, and now stepping into Peter's role here and working with Josie. It's great.
He's my heartthrob.
That's right. That's right. We have a good time.
Do you live in Nashville? Is that?
Yeah, I live in Nashville. I record for Epic Records, and this has been going pretty well. But it's nice to get off the road for a while.
You mean Sky Masterson's actually a country crooner?
I
can't think of anything further from Nashville than Sky Masterson. Jodi, you guys won the Tony against incredible competition. I mean, you're up against falsettos, right? Mm-hmm. And Jelly's Last Jam with Gregory Hines, runaway favorites. Any inkling that you were going to cop that big prize?
We really didn't. I mean, when it came to the Tony Awards that night, Harry sat behind me, and we had no idea. In fact, I really thought that one of the other 2 shows would win. So when Kirk Douglas announced Crazy for You, we just shot up out of our seats. We did. I threw my purse up, and we hugged each other and screamed and went crazy. And we had no idea. I really didn't expect that we were going to win the best musical of the year.
In most new musicals, the tough thing is getting people to get into the songs, but with Gershwin, every song you sing, everyone practically knows the word. I promise not to sing along today when you perform, but...
Everybody in the front row, they usually, couples grab hands and they start to hum, and I mean, that's what it's about. It is it's a classic show in that respect, although it's a new script. But the music itself just brings back a lot of fond memories, and people can relate to that.
It's a new script, Harry, but it's one of those, come on, gang, let's put on a show.
Very much like the old Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland musicals. Yeah,
that's what makes it great. Now, Liz, me and your dad, John, a PBS broadcaster from Chicago, go way back. A very talented family you have. He's on TV. Your mom's a music teacher,
Yeah,
right?
she's a voice teacher here in the city for a lot of Broadway performers, and my sister, Ann Hampton Callaway, is a recording artist here as well.
Wow. So you have no black sheep in the family? You want to tell us about?
No, that's it.
Black sheep and talented family on the next Geraldo.
That's right. I knew something like this would come up.
Something juicy, right?
No, I don't have any. No, I don't have any good dirt for you. Sorry.
But you do have a great song for us. Our first performance. You're going to sing "Memory." I guess this is a question for you and Jodi and Harry. All of you are singing songs that have been done by some of the all-time greats over time. I wonder if that isn't even more pressure than just the pressure of a performance.
I don't think about it.
No, I don't think it's necessarily pressure. If anything, it's really nice going in at the end of the show and singing a song that I know everyone loves. You know, there's something very nice about that.
That's the way to look at it.
Unless I really, really blow it. Hopefully they'll enjoy it.
Well, maybe you could always blame it on your accompanist.
That's right.
Who is?
Patrick Vaccarello.
Okay, hi, Patrick. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our first performance of the day. Here is Liz Callaway singing Memory from the hit play Cats. Take it away, Liz.
Memory, turn your face to memory live again. Burned out ends of smoky days, the stale cold smell of morning. The street lamp dies, another night is over, another day is dawning. Daylight, I must wait for the sunrise. I must think of a new life, and I mustn't give in. When the dawn comes, tonight will be a memory too, and a new day will begin. Like a flower as the dawn is breaking, the memory is fading. Touch me, it's so easy to leave me all alone with the memory of my days in the sun. If you touch me, you'll understand what happiness is. Look, a new day has begun.
Liz Callaway. That's I'm Dreaming of a Broadway Christmas, the focus of this special edition of Geraldo. Bravo!
Damn it, I don't want to hear any more talk like that. Now, no one's going to pity you tonight.
Okay.
You told your friend Mary that you had a guy that was crazy about you. You're going to have a guy who's crazy about you, who will worship the ground you walk on.
Okay. May I have a glass of water?
What's the matter, your arm's broken?
Judd Hirsch and Mary Lou Henner in Taxi. I have a question for Judd. You know, it just seems that the cast of that ensemble there was so extraordinary. Danny DeVito, Christopher Lloyd, who's in Back to the Future and a million other things, Mary Lou Henner, Andy Kaufman, who passed away, but a brilliant comedian, of course, you, the anchor man. Do you think that in show business sometimes accidents happen where all these things come together, extraordinary talents?
Well, in this one, I remember them talking about an ensemble. So the idea at the very beginning was to put together people that had pretty much the relationships that we did. But when they got the core of what they started with, then they realized that all the pieces would fall into place. They had already written an idea about what the people represent. There would be an actor. There would be a prize fighter. There would be a cab driver. There would be a man who couldn't speak English. But really, these things don't start out simply from an idea that they'll fill in. What they do is they start out with an idea about the people themselves. Wouldn't it be nice if we did a show like this with so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so, and couldn't we write for them? And the answer was, this is the ideal one, because you could throw them all together in a place called hell and watch them try to get out until it freezes over, you know. So it was to encase these people together, and just as you would boil water, you know, let them bump against each other.
Did you know
and
at
the
the
writers, of course, if they weren't up to the task of writing for these people, there was such a cast that they were up against it. They were up against it. Of course, what they really did was they started with us from the very beginning. We started kidding around from day one, and then they started writing what we were doing. It was the most ridiculous thing to get into. I thought I was getting into something that was already written. Meanwhile, they were writing what we were doing, you know.
I would like to know if Dear John is still on the air, and if so, when can it be seen?
Oh, is it in syndication? Taxi certainly
Yeah,
is.
I think it is in syndication. I think it's just going into syndication now, but I think maybe if you went to Ponce, Puerto Rico, I'm not quite sure where it is, right?
Well, I'm going very shortly, actually. Did you know with Taxi that it was a hit? I mean, did you know, feel the buzz before you saw the ratings?
Instantly. I read the first script, and I didn't want to do it because I knew that I'd get stuck into something, so I told my agent, I said, this is at least 3 years. He said, so how old will you be when you get out? And I said, maybe too old. And I said, I'm talking about the minimum. And he said, well, you want to do it or don't you? And I said, well, make them an offer they can't accept. And he did, and they accepted.
This question's for Tom. Do you plan to star any more Dukes of Hazzard on reunion shows?
Well, that's been discussed a couple of times about doing a reunion show. And I think we'd all like to. Warner Brothers has the option.
Just don't drive Japanese cars.
No, believe me.
Just won't have the
We're not
same
jumping
effect
any
as that
Hondas.
big old Dodge there.
We only wreck American cars.
That's America. You know, Harry, you know, the nerd you played on Dear John is so different from the character you play in Crazy for You.
Thank God.
Thank God. Is this one kind of your dream Broadway part?
I think this is a dream Broadway part. They come along so rarely.
So he's a
especially
rich guy. His family wants him to be, what, a banker, right?
Yes, my family wants me to be a
But you want to be
banker.
in showbiz.
I want to be a song and dance man. And it really is a kind of Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland story. It's the kind of role, I mean, you get to sing and dance and act and do everything in this show. There's so much that we get to do in this show. It's a pastry. And they only come along once in a lifetime, so I'm hanging on to it here.
And you're going to hear a Gershwin melody right
here.
here.
We had Harry in Dear John, and they just couldn't wait to write a part for him to sing and dance in. And of course, he was playing a guy that the last thing in the world you would think that he would dance, right? And he comes on as like Fred Astaire. He choreographed the whole number with the girl he danced with, and we're standing there with our eyes, nose, and ears open, including our mouths, watching this guy doing this fantastic dance. And when it was all over, he was like, well, yeah, I could do that too.
Lainie, aren't you glad to be back east?
I am.
Out of the Hollywood scene for a while?
Yeah.
I mean, I love the West Coast, but I mean, there's something gritty about this. And didn't you grow up and go to high school?
I grew up and I grew up in Brooklyn. I know these women. Intimately.
Are you related to any of them?
Oh, yes, my mother, who, you know...
Tell us about your mom.
My mother is great. She's the original Belle Steinberg Karoka. But
That's the character she plays.
That's the character I'm playing in My
Favorite
Year. But my mom has been an inspiration for me in all these wonderful Jewish women I've portrayed. And she was a showbiz mom, because I've been singing and dancing since I was just a little girl, like 4 years old. And she'll always say, I just encouraged her. I never pushed her, you know. So she's kind of more like the woman I played in Beaches, really.
Has she ever questioned any of your show business professional decisions?
Yeah, I've given her a ride. I've given her quite a ride, you know, but she's always been kind of very lovely and loving, and, you know, she's kind of dear. She's proud of me, and she's a little star in her own right. You know, she signs autographs to the butcher, Lainie Kazan's mother.
Okay, we got to take a break. When we come back, you'll see a very special Gershwin melody performed by Jodi and Harry. You won't want to miss it. Our special Broadway Christmas continues. Stay tuned. I'm dreaming of a Broadway Christmas. Having fun today in the Broadcast Center with some the great stars of the hit shows on Broadway right now. Yes, hi.
Hi. I'd like to know, how much to heart do you really take what critics have to say?
Do you get hurt?
Good question. Good question.
Liz, do you ever get burned by it?
Well, you try not to, but I remember about 8 years ago, I was doing a show on Broadway called Baby, and I got my first John Simon review, and everyone had warned me that he can be mean, and he was mean. Quite mean to me. And
I bet you remember it verbatim.
I do.
Give us one sentence. Give us one sentence.
things like intolerable, things like that, he said. But you know, but now I actually love that because he says a lot of bad things about a lot of people, and it's almost kind of like a running joke around Broadway people. I have a T-shirt that says I was panned by John Simon, but the first show, the next day that I went out, you know, even though you feel like, oh, it doesn't matter, I think 2,000 people out there have all read that review, and they're all looking at me going, oh, she's terrible. And it just lasts for a day or so, and it hurts a little bit, and then you forget about it, and it's actually, you can laugh at it now.
Oh.
But you know, some people don't read reviews. I do.
Lainie's shaking her head. She doesn't
I've been
forget.
getting reviews for like 30 years, and I want to tell you, the first bad review I ever got, I locked myself in my hotel room, and I didn't come out for the entire engagement except to sneak to where I was singing. It was so horrifying. And I remember I mean, it was terrible. And through the years, I've become a bit immune. I mean, although it still hurts, it's painful to read something negative
but
about
success
yourself.
is its own revenge. That's my thing.
Perhaps, yeah. But the last review I got that was negative was I found so amusing that I actually laughed because the headline of the San Francisco Chronicle called me a sizzling matzo ball on the prowl.
What a visual! It's like Godzilla. I love it. A Jewish Godzilla.
After that, I figured, I'm home.
Yes, I wanted to ask Lainie Kazan, do you still reside in Brooklyn, such as an address, and what part of Brooklyn did you come from? And isn't it great?
Well, and my phone number, no.
You went to Hofstra, right?
I went to Hofstra University.
My sister did too, but Madeline Kahn went.
With Madeline Kahn and Francis Coppola, and we all were, it was quite a group.
Out in Long Island?
But my mother still lives in Brooklyn, but I live in Los Angeles.
Hi, Harry, I was curious, how do you get your voice to do that on Dear John? Did you learn that, or did someone...
I don't know. It just sort of happened. I know that in the first year, the director kept saying, Harry, get the voice up, get the voice up, get the voice up. And I said, but isn't this unreal? Isn't this absolutely... no, just keep on higher. Get the voice higher, higher.
He played Ralph the Nerd. And before we get to Harry and Jodi's performance of the Gershwin medley, I said melody before, medley, let's just show you a clip from Dear John so you see how different he is, the range of his acting skills.
You say the orchestra is more than wonderful. Okay? Okay. Okay. These hors d'oeuvres are delicious.
These hors d'oeuvres are more than delicious.
I have to go to the bathroom.
I more than have to go to the bathroom.
There's Harry Groener as Ralph in Dear John. But now Harry and...
that guy?
Harry and Jodi, show us how far you've come.
I can't believe that's him.
I'm going to introduce you first.
Yeah.
And your accompanist
is Pam Drews. Is our accompanist.
Pam Drews.
Welcome.
She's also our conductor on a lot of nights.
Who was that guy?
Oh, I'm the chappie to make you happy. I'll tie your shoesies and chase your bluesies. Oh, lady, would you? Oh, tell me, could you use me?
No nightlife for you, the birds would bore you, the cows won't know you, a horse would throw you, you silly man, you to ask me, can you use me?
Do you realize what a good man you're getting in me? I'm no Elcro Mason or Woodman who gets home at 3.
Your ties are freakish, your knees are weakish, go back to flappers and highball lappers. Though you can use me, I most certainly can't use.
Embrace me, my sweet embraceable you.
Embrace me, you irreplaceable you.
Just one look at you, my heart grew tipsy in me.
You and you alone bring out the gypsy in me.
I love all the many charms about you.
Above all, I
come to Bobby do, my sweet embrace of home.
I got rhythm, I got music, I got my man who could ask for anything more.
I got daisies in green pastures. I got my gal who could ask for anything more. Old man's trouble,
I don't mind him.
you won't find him hanging around my front or back door.
I got starlight,
I got sweet dreams.
I got my man who could ask for anything more.
Who could ask for anything more? Who could ask for anything more?
Oh, Harry Groener and Jodi Benson, Crazy for You. We'll be right back. Our Broadway Christmas continues. You'll hear from Tom and Josie and Guys and Dolls. Stay tuned.
I wanna be where the people are. I wanna see them dancing, walking around on those, what do you call them? Oh, feet. Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along down the, what's that word again? Street.
Jodi Benson performing Ariel. Was that kind of weird to see yourself as a fish?
It is incredible. I mean, each time I see a clip like that, and it's been, 5 years that I've stopped laughing, that I've been doing the character of Ariel, and we're now in the second season of the television series. It still amazes me that that's me. I'm really proud of the picture. It's a great thing to have been a part of, and working for Disney is a dream come true.
And Lainie, I bet you'd be good at that.
I've done some of that, but nothing that's ever actually been on for a long
My friend
period of
Cheech was
time.
a Chihuahua in one of
Cheech
them.
is a good friend, yeah. I see him all the time.
He's great.
All the time.
Liz, what was the toughest time? How tough did it get? Show business, everyone says how tough it is.
It is hard. I went through a period in my career. I moved to New York when I was 18, and I did pretty well for several years. And then I went through a time where I had a lot of jobs fall through. Then I couldn't buy a job, so I collected unemployment. And then my unemployment ran out. I worked in a gift shop, and this was all after getting a Tony nomination. So I know that there are highs and lows in this business, and now the last 5 years or so have been great. But I live knowing that I don't know what's going to happen next year or the year after. So I'm very thankful when I'm working and know that it can be hard for everyone.
Tom, is John Snyder still in Grand Hotel?
The Grand Hotel isn't running anymore.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah.
I like it. Right?
He may still be in it, but no.
Shows up.
God, that's the guy can't get a job. Right? Are you guys really friends in real life?
Yeah, definitely. And our paths crossed quite a bit. He came and saw me the first week I was in Guys and Dolls, and we see each other all the time. We're both in Nashville a lot, and both in L.A. once in a while, and both in New York quite a bit.
Now, Josie, you did West Side Story, right?
Right,
Yeah, and
12 years ago.
Did you really shoot the wrong gang?
Yes, I did.
You did?
Oh, on Broadway. It was the last scene, and Maria is distraught. I did, because Maria's distraught because Tony has just been shot by Chino, right? And she's got this very dramatic monologue where she really lays into the Jets and the Sharks, and I went, "Are there enough bullets for you, Chino?" And then I went, "And for you," boom. And then 3 jets started, like, slowly dying on stage.
But you were supposed to
slid down simultaneously, so there was nobody there to take Tony back. So they had all the shark girls and everybody, all the sharks took Tony off stage. And I was going, take me, I'm a murderer. Just put me in jail.
I didn't remember that in the script. The show must go on. Okay, and you're going to hear a great Guys and Dolls. Tom and Josie are going to do a number from that. Don't miss it. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Of a Broadway Christmas special focus today. Before we hear from Josie and Tom, let's just get a couple of questions.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there's any plans for a taxi reunion in the future.
Oh, I hope not. You get to a point where after a while, you know, it's been so long, but I mean, even though we still know each other, we would carry on really very badly. We would be very naughty if we did it.
Hi, my question is, what you do in your on the spare time?
Who? Judd?
I'm Judd, yeah.
My spare time?
Yeah. Rehearses.
You should only live so long that I have such spare time. I really don't do much. I mean, if you're in a Broadway show, you really don't have that much spare time. My spare time is getting over what I do in my unspare time.
8 performances a week, is it?
Yeah, it's slave labor.
They say the second worst thing on Broadway is a hit.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you start counting the days, you know, from the moment they pronounce you a hit, you start counting the days to when you could possibly get out, and you realize it's Mount Everest.
How long will you be in conversations with my father?
I'll be till February.
Oh, cool. Conversations with my father, of course, playing at the Royale, 242 West 45th Street. I'll give you the address for all the shows. But now, a very special treat from one of the great musicals ever written. Here is Tom Wopat and Josie DeGuzman singing...
I've never been in love before.
Thank you very much.
And Larry German.
Hold it. And you will be accompanied by...
Also, Mr. Larry Yerman on the piano.
I've never been in love before. Now all at once it's you forevermore. I've never been in love before. I thought my heart was safe. I thought I knew the score. But this is wine that's all too strange and strong. I'm full of foolish song, and out my song must pour. So please forgive this helpless haze I'm in. I really never been in love before.
Josie DeGuzman. Bravo!
tickets to the Geraldo Show, write Geraldo Tickets, 524 West 57th Street, New York, New York, 10019. Please send a self-addressed stamped envelope or call 212-265-1283.
Before your beloved father passed away and eventually died, he said to me, Belle, after I go, get someone to be with, someone nice. A pal.
So you went out and found a Filipino bantamweight named Rookie Caroca?
Rookie Caroca, who held the title for well over 6 months.
Until Manny Serpa turned him into guava jelly at the Garden.
Serpa butted him.
I'll fight Serpa today and take him apart.
Do you hear what you started here?
My favorite year, the film version, which Lainie is currently recreating at the Vivian Beaumont Theater, 150 West 65th Street, right here in the Big Apple. That was such a funny part, such a funny. You know what I just remembered? What? Do you remember the old Dean Martin show when Dean Martin had a variety show?
How could I forget?
But you were probably the biggest sensation on his whole show. I mean, the whole time.
Oh, he was wonderful to me.
He kept having you back, and you were terrific. Big
that was really the beginning of my career as a singer. Yeah, it was his wonderful, ability to present me. I was on week after week after week after week. We had a great relationship.
Great. Those were some days. And I would be remiss, Judd, if I didn't bring up the name of a great actor who's recently passed away, who co-starred with you in I'm Not Rapport, Cleavon Little. On TV, they just run Blazing Saddles again. He's just so funny in it. I haven't seen any tributes or memorials to him. I would love to attend.
We're working on one right now. Actually, it's on Monday. It's a rather small affair, which I'm going to put together a film of all the things that he and I did together and some of the things that he did himself. And in about 20 minutes, I have to go back to it.
To get to it.
It's terrific because it's being able to look over all the things that we never got a chance to see ourselves because we were in them.
Cleavon Little, what a great actor.
Very graceful man. Very graceful man.
Graceful man. Now I'll gracefully go to commercial. We'll be right back.
Accommodations for guests of the Geraldo Show were provided by the new luxury Ramada Renaissance Times Square Hotel at 48th Street and 7th Avenue, New York City. Promotional fees have been provided by
2,000 Flushes Chlorine Clear Tablet. Helps bleach away stains in your toilet up to 4 months. 2,000 Flushes Chlorine Clear Tablet.
The Remington Microscreen shaves as close as a blade or your money back. And the Remington Professional Home Haircut Kit will save you time and money.
We thought that it would be fitting to end this holiday celebration of Broadway's greatest. Mike, give me the addresses where the shows are first, because I want to read them. Hurry, 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 hurry. We're going to sing. Everyone's going to sing Winter Wonderland. First, Cats is at the Winter Garden Theater, 50th and Broadway. Conversations with My Father at the Royale, 242 West 45th. Guys and Dolls at the Martin Beck. My favorite year, as I mentioned, the Vivian Beaumont. Crazy for You is at the Schubert. We're all going to sing Winter Wonderland with the help of a couple of hundred people in our studio audience. Judd and I are going to mouth the words because we got some great voices here. But 1 and a 2 and a... Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, the snow is glistening. A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight. Walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away is the bluebird, in his day. He sings a love song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman, then pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, are you married? We'll say, no, man. But you can do the job when you're in town. Later on we'll conspire as we dream by the fire to face unafraid the plans that we made, walking in a winter wonderland. Thank all our guests and you all singing along. Happy holidays, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Coming up on Channel 7 News.